Hey guys, what's going on? It's WrestleMania here, back with another deep dive into the world of WWE. This time, we're breaking down the latest edition of SmackDown, along with all the wildest news, stories, and rumors floating around right now. From WWE having to slash WrestleMania ticket prices to a creepy fan incident, Triple H getting called out over promotional claim, people breaking into the old abandoned WWE headquarters, and even Booker T taking heat as the so-called worst announcer of 2025. There's a lot to unpack. Stick around as we go through the good, the bad, and the downright ugly from this week's Blue Brand show, plus all the off-screen drama you need to know about. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a daily wrestling update. Let's jump right in. Starting with the positives from SmackDown, because there were definitely some highlights that stood out and reminded us why we love this product. First up has to be Our Truth stealing the show once again with his signature brand of chaos and comedy. In a backstage segment in Nick Aldi's office, things got hilarious fast. Damian Priest was there, along with Kit Wilson, who buzzed and frustrated about some booking issues from the previous week, something involving match against someone like Oba, likely a reference to recent angles. Kit even dropped a little poetic line to vent, but then Our Truth jumped in with his classic off-the-cuff energy. He started riffing on the roses are red, violets are blue poem, twisting it to reference last week's antics where someone got put on their head in a match. The line landed perfectly absurd, and you could see everyone cracking up. Damian Priest couldn't hold it together, breaking character and laughing hard. Nick Aldis was losing it in the background, and even Kit Wilson was fighting to stay serious. It was pure Our Truth magic, unpredictable, light-hearted, and completely derailing the segment in the best possible way. These moments don't always push major storylines forward, but they add so much needed levity to the show. Our Truth has been a reliable source of comedy for years, and this felt like a nod back to how he was used during the Vince McMahon era, those segments that mix intentional humor with genuine absurdity, leaning into Truth's timing and his lovably confused character. It seems like under Triple H and Bruce Pritchard, they are circling back to that winning formula. Who knows, maybe Vince is still calling in suggestions every week. Who can say? But whatever the case, segments like this are gold and remind fans why Our Truth remains one of the most entertaining guys on the roster. Another strong positive was seeing Apollo Crews back in action. He hasn't been on TV much lately, and his last main roster match before this stretch was back on January 24th, 2025, when he actually picked up a win over Johnny Gargano on SmackDown. This week, he was part of a big 10-man tag team match, and even though his team didn't come out on top, just having him back in the mix felt refreshing. Apollo brings athleticism, charisma, and a presence that's been missing for too long. It's great to see WWE giving him some spotlight again. He's too talented to stay on the sidelines. Then there's Zelina Vega, who seems to have finally hit her stride with a revamped presentation. She was in an Elimination Chamber qualifier against Alexa Bliss and Julia, with some interference or accompaniment from others like Charlotte Flair and Kiana James in the mix. Zelina didn't advance. Alexa picked up the win with her sister Abigail. But the real story wasn't the result. It was how WWE presented her. She walked out to a darker, more intense theme, Root of All Evil, which ties into her edgier vibe, and the whole entrance felt like a shift from her previous high-energy, colorful style. The changes were immediate and noticeable, more serious, more menacing, and it suited her perfectly, even in defeat. This feels like WWE has nailed her character direction at last, setting her up for bigger things down the line. Aleister Black getting some serious momentum is another win. Last week, he was in a qualifying match alongside Randy Orton and Solo Sikoa, where Orton punched his ticket to the chamber by pinning Solo after Black 8 and RKO following a missed Black Mass. This week, Black cut a compelling video package calling out Orton directly. He praised Orton's recent work, but questioned how far the Viper might go for another WrestleMania title shot, even floating the idea of Cody Rhodes qualifying, which, spoiler, actually happened later in the show. It wasn't filler. It built tension and referenced their prior backstage run-ins. Interestingly, despite crossing paths in multi-man matches, Orton and Black have never had a proper televised singles match. Black's history includes strong feud with The Miz and Damian Priest, but stepping up to Orton would elevate him big time. This could be the WrestleMania season build-up fans have been waiting for. Two intense, technical masters clashing. And finally, in the good category, Trick Williams absolutely demolished Sami Zayn in a promo that was fire. Trick came out swinging, calling out Sami's constant moping, his unkempt look, bad hygiene jokes, and desperation for opportunities. Lines like accusing him of smelling like regret and begging for chances hit hard. Even though Sami was the one taking the verbal beating, it showcased Trick's MIC skills perfectly. He's got that star power, charisma, and edge that could make him one of the next big breakout names. One promo like that can change everything, and Trick delivered. Now, shifting to the bad, things that didn't quite land or raise questions. Cody Rhodes qualifying for the men's elimination chamber is a big moment, but it sparks debate about repetition at the top. After beating Jacob Fatu and Sami Zayn in a triple threat, with some chaos involving Drew McIntyre trying to interfere and accidentally costing Sami, Cody joins Orton and LA Knight in the chamber at the end of the month. Momentum is back on his side, but should he win it? Since WrestleMania 38, Cody's been almost exclusively in the main event scene, title pictures, completing his story, becoming a two-time undisputed champion by 2026. His headlined multiple mayonnaise and championship matches. At some point, the focus needs to shift to elevate new faces. WrestleMania season is prime time for breakthroughs, and repeating Cody at the top risks feeling stale. A potential program with Drew McIntyre will be solid on paper. Both are top tier, but it doesn't feel fresh or revolutionary. If WrestleMania 42 is about evolution and new momentum, maybe someone else gets the chamber spotlight. Another issue was a lack of real follow-up with the Wyatt Six. After Tama Tonga, or similar, defeated Carmelo Hayes in a match, the Wyatt Six appeared in the crowd surrounded by fireflies, holding lanterns and eerie visuals. But once again, they just stood there. Following last week's angle where it seemed like members were abducted or something dramatic happened, fans expected more aggression, maybe reclaiming the lanterns symbolizing Bray Wyatt's legacy. Instead, no attack, no consequences. Dex Lumis drawings popped up again, including a creepy self-portrait as a lantern. But the group needs action, not just atmosphere. Uncle Howdy keeps making big promises, but delivery is lacking. Is this building to something huge, or is the momentum fading? Tama Tonga himself feels underutilized, like an NPC in his own faction. Signed in 2024 and debuting mid-2025, he's only had around 10 televised matches despite his size, power, and role as an enforcer in a prominent group. Other members get regular showcases, but Tama stays mostly in the background. It's puzzling booking. He has the tools to be a dominant force, yet is barely featured. Hopefully WWE gives him more to do soon. Royce Keys, or similar rising name, also got shortchanged. He made waves entering the 2026 Royal Rumble at number 14 and eliminating a former world champ like Damian Priest, sending a huge statement. Since then, he's popped up backstage on Raw and even taped an episode of Stephanie McMahon's podcast at WWE HQ. Clearly, the company is investing in him. But on this SmackDown, all he got was a dark match against Nathan Frazer. If WWE is all in, why not capitalize with on-screen follow-up? Momentum in wrestling evaporates fast. Don't let it slip away. The downright ugly, Ilya Dragunov's presentation taking a hit. In the 10-man tag, MFTs versus Ilya, Shinsuke Nakamura, Apollo Crews, Matt Cardona, Carmelo Hayes, Ilya unloaded his vicious knife-edge chops on Tama Tonga. Normally, those are some of the nastiest strikes in the business. His whole identity is built on punishing intensity. But this time, there were no sold, shrugged off like nothing. It undercut him badly. Over the past month, Ilya has taken losses to Shinsuke, Sami Zayn, Carmelo Hayes, house show defeats, and even moments like Brock Lesnar-style no-sells in the past. Fans are noticing and questioning if WWE has cooled on the Mad Dragon too quickly. Overall, aside from Cody's qualification and a few bright spots, this SmackDown felt pretty average. Nothing truly special stood out beyond that one chop moment that hurt more than it helped. What did you think of the Blue brand this week? Drop your thought below. Moving to the bigger news stories shaking things up. Triple H got called out for a promotional botch ahead of Elimination Chamber. The show head to Chicago's United Center on February 28, streaming on ESPN and Netflix as the last big stop before WrestleMania 42. Triple H shared the official poster, hyping it as a historic return. For the first time in over 30 years, WWE takes over the United Center. Fans quickly push back. WWE actually ran 2 non-televised house shows there in 2018. The last major televised event was SummerSlam 1994, so technically, this is the first premium live event in over 3 decades. But the wording made it sound like WWE hadn't been in the building at all since the 90s. Fans were harsh, but understandable, accuracy matters in hype. Still, it feels like nitpicking. The spirit of the historic return for a big show holds up. The big headline is WrestleMania 42 tickets getting heavily discounted. With the event set for Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas this April, reports surface of an all departments meeting on February 11th discussing slower-than-expected sales. WrestleVotes noted prices would stay the same initially, but soon after, Allegiant Stadium announced a limited-time 25% off promo code for a holiday weekend offer through February 16th. Around 36,000 tickets distributed per night so far, about 10,000 behind last year's pace before WrestleMania 41, which climbed to 56 to 60,000. The discount could boost numbers, but it sparked backlash. Premium packages, like the top-tier one at $37,500, with stage access, perks, etc., dropped significantly. Great for new buyers, but frustrating for those who paid full price earlier. Teddy Long weighed in on a podcast, zooming out to economic realities, families struggling with jobs, healthcare, groceries, entertainment takes a backseat. He questioned high prices in tough times and said Vince McMahon would never discount like this. Dave Meltzer reported in the Wrestling Observer that slower sales led to re-evaluating the entire WrestleMania card, with creative frustrations and shifting plans. One insider said they should stick to the original because it was good. Meltzer also noted Brock Lesnar was internally eyed for LA Knight despite Royal Rumble teasers with others, maybe some internal politics at play. On the fan behavior front, a creepy incident struck again involving Saraya, formerly Paige. She shut down a fan online who asked to kiss her in a reply to her Houston WrestleVerse appearance promo. Simply no. This follows her opening up on the Rule Breakers podcast about harassment at a Chicago signing. A fan slapped her ass 3 times, thinking it was funny. Security reacted too late, offering to escort him out after the fact and assigning her a guard eventually. She stressed it's the second time this year with touching, kissing attempts, or groping. Fans getting too comfortable, and these types shouldn't be allowed near wrestlers. Booker T faced backlash after being voted worst television announcer of 2025 in the Wrestling Observer Awards, topping the list with hundreds more votes than Pat McAfee, Michael Cole, Vic Joseph, or Tony Schiavone. It sparked huge debate. Many fans and personalities defended him fiercely. WWE Sam Roberts called it insane, praising Booker's emotion, vibes, and how he guides NXT stars' crowd responses. Examples like bumping to Trick Williams' entrance show his passion. Wrestling is feelings, and Booker delivers that. Do you agree with the vote? It feels off to many. Finally, a wild story. Teenagers broke into the abandoned old WWE HQ, Titan Towers in Stamford, Connecticut. The building, vacated years ago when WWE moved downtown, was sold in 2025 for redevelopment into apartments. But these kids got in, filmed everything. Empty offices, hallways, meeting rooms, leftover merchandise, even the old gym with abandoned equipment. Graffiti on walls added to the eerie vibe. The viral videos show them exploring freely, highlighting how creepy an empty wrestling empire feels. Security lapses or not, it's insane they pulled it off. That's a full rundown on SmackDown and the hottest stories right now. WWE's navigating ticket challenges, creative shifts, and fan issues while building the big events. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What stood out to you, what didn't, and where things go from here. See you next time with more wrestling content. Peace.